Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Rice and Peas. Today I'm here to discuss the top 5 repeatable albums for 2025. First, we're going to be taking it up to the A, and we're going to be visiting Mariah the Scientist with her release of Heart Sold Separately. This album was released back on August 1st of this year, and I believe it sold about 30K units or so. Correct me if I'm wrong, with this first week of sales. Her leading single from this album was Burning Blue, which became one of her first top 40 hits. To me, that is something that's extremely important for her, just because she's been in the game for a minute. A lot of people feel like she's just kind of popped up on the scene due to her personal relationship or her relationship with Young Thug, but Mariah has been really doing her thing, really building her fan base. So I respect her 100%. This album was completely written by her. Only one of the songs, which is It a Crime, was co-written with Caliucius. The album, if I don't remember if I said it or not, it was produced by, let me pull it up here, Anthony Jeffries. He's of Division, if you're not familiar. But yes, Anthony Jeffries. And so some of my favorite tracks from this album, the first is going to be No More Entertainers. That one is definitely a hit. Then we have Rainy Days, which I'm hoping is going to be her next single. A lot of people have been expressing their love for that one. And then we have Sacrifice, which I believe she said that she is a huge fan of. And then another song, of course, which I'll say is an honorable mention, is Like You Never. And then also I do want to add Burning Blue, because I was playing that song up this year, especially that once it was released. But yeah, she's definitely, I think, someone who is here to stay. She definitely showed herself as an artist, and I commend her a lot for what she was able to accomplish on this album. So I'm just looking forward to more of Mariah the Scientist and seeing where her career progresses. All right, so we're gonna take it up to Virginia for a little bit, and we're gonna visit the Clipse. They released their long-awaited album, Let God Sort 'Em Out, on July 11th of this year. If you take nothing away from the Clipse, you're gonna take away this rollout. They were doing any and everything. Like, you saw them everywhere, and I love it, just because you haven't really seen that kind of rollout from artists in a long time. I think a lot of artists are now just trying to just release music, and then, you know, trying to do the whole Beyonce thing of just no date or anything, just releasing it, and then letting the fans just kind of like take it in then. And honestly, I'm kind of over that. I want to kind of get excited about the album with them. I want to be a part of that journey. So I definitely appreciated this. And we also got Malice back, which everybody is happy about. Like, he is, I believe, like 50 years old. He's 50 something, and he's just really rapping his butt off. So yeah, but this album definitely for me is top 5 repeatable. Some of my favorite tracks from the album are going to be H Trumpets, then we have All Things Considered, So Be It, and then we have The Birds Don't Sing. If you aren't into the Clipse, I understand a lot of people, they kind of missed that wave, but he is featured though on, or not he, they are featured though on JID's track Community from his latest album, so definitely check that out too. I think JID dropped some good music this year as well. All right, so next on the list, we're gonna be taking it over the pond and be checking out the UK. We're gonna be staying there actually for a little bit. I'm sorry to say, but, well, not sorry, this is my list, so yeah. But yes, we're going to be staying in the UK for a little bit. And so the next album that I'm going to be discussing is going to be Sault's release of 10, which was released back on April 19th of this year. This album for me was just everything. It is produced by Info and Cleo Soul. If you don't know, they are married. And so this album is kind of different from their other albums because it's more gospel based. And when I say gospel, it's like more, I guess they'll say contemporary. And a lot of people, some people weren't really receptive towards that just because, you know, mixing religion with religion, or mixing music with religion for some people just isn't their thing. But I loved it. Just because the elements that they were able to add to this album, as they've added to their other albums, it just seems to me a little bit more, it seems fun, it seems expressive, it seems like grateful. It just seemed like a great vibe. So it introduced a lot of funk, R&B, and jazz elements into the album. Some of my favorite tracks from the album, they're all abbreviated, which I personally don't like just because it makes it harder to remember, but all the songs are abbreviated. So it is TH, and then we have SITI, which is another favorite track of mine. Then we have LU, and then SOTH. So yes, those are my favorite tracks from the album. And then the album, it did show a break from Little Simz, who was featured on a lot of the albums from the past. So this album vocally, it just is Cleo Soul. Her voice is just very angelic, and she just carries it all. She is just one of those artists like I will always come back to. So yes, Sault's 10 is definitely on my list of the top 5 repeatable albums of 2025. All right, so next on the list, we have my girl, Little Simz. She released her 6th studio album, Lotus, on June 6th. And this album is just completely phenomenal. This album showed a transformative, I guess, part of her life. If you're not aware, there was a break between her and her longtime producer, Info, who again is a part of Sault. The reason being was some kind of financial issues. I won't get into that, but there was just a break between their relationship. They actually had an album already, I believe it was halfway finished, but she just scrapped the album completely and just started fresh with this one, Lotus. She said that she titled the album Lotus just because whenever I wrote it down actually. She said that she titled the album Lotus because lotuses always bloom in muddy waters. And so I thought that was a very poignant thing to state. Much of the album talks about grief, her moving on, and just her like continuing to build herself, you know, in spite of whatever breakdowns that she may be feeling mentally or what have you. So some of the songs that I enjoyed on this album, the first is going to be Free, which I believe was one of the lead singles on the album. Then I have Lonely, Blue, and Peace. The album features collaborations with Moses Sumney, Yukimi of Little Dragon, and Sampha. There's a couple of others on the album as well, but those are some of the ones I just talk about for now. It was well received by critics, if that even matters these days, but it was really well received by critics. And they also mentioned that it showed her unique growth with the album. So this is definitely something that you should check out if you are interested in her. I think she is just amazing. Her pen is just always on point. Her delivery on point. It's just 10s across the board for me. So definitely check out Lotus when you get a chance. So next on the list, we are going to be discussing Kokoroko. I like their name. It is another UK-based group. It's a collective, and the group is led by Sheila Maurice Gray and Onome Edgeworth. This is actually my first introduction to them, and I'm glad that I'm here. They are just simply amazing. I think a lot of these collective groups coming out of the UK are amazing, but this group itself, like, I listened to their album. Oh, by the way, the album is called Tough Times Never Last, which was released on April 10th. But yes, I think this album, it's just very like feel good music. I listen to it probably maybe 2 or 3 times a week, mainly when I go to the gym. Maybe it's not gym music for everybody, but I have listened to it at the gym, and then I listen to it just like throughout the morning and things of that nature. The album itself fuses, again, funk, jazz, Afro beats, and then there's some kind of R&B neo soul vibe to it as well. Some of my favorite tracks from this album are going to be Call My Name, Just Can't Wait, and Closer to Me. The arrangements on this album are not forceful. I think sometimes when collective groups get together, they try to force the vibe, but this just seems like a family. And I think that's what made this album for me very special. So definitely go ahead and check out Tough Times Never Last by Kokoroko whenever you get a chance.